Two of my favorite YouTubers are Viva Fry and Robert Barnes. Viva sells a shirt on his channel which simply states, "Politics ruins everything." While that statement may seem self-evident to a lot of people, about 14 years worth of Gallup survey data really supports that conclusion. I am Dr. John Padfield. I am a business professor, and this is Business Reform, where I discuss issues at the intersection of business, technology, and society. In February 2021, Reason magazine ran a story describing how politics is seeping into our daily lives, obstructing friendships, influencing purchases, and affecting positions we take on seemingly apolitical matters. The article states that as a result of politics, many people are poorer, lonelier, and less healthy than they would be otherwise. On important matters, I always look for corroborating evidence. I will look at multiple sources of information to see do they agree with one another or do they seem to contradict one another. And while looking for evidence related to politics ruins everything, I ran across some very interesting results from Gallup surveys. Since 2006, Gallup has surveyed millions of people around the world about their emotional experiences. I have examined the methodology that Gallup uses for their annual report, and it is very robust. Their survey data shows that the world had a pretty consistent amount of unhappiness between 2006 and 2011. But since 2011, the world has become much less happy. I made a video about this topic last year, and I will post a link at the end of this video. However, within the next 1 to 2 weeks, Gallup will be releasing their 2023 Global Emotions Report, and I plan to update that video and release an updated version. In September 2022, John Clifton, the CEO of Gallup, released a book entitled Blind Spot, which detailed the results and analysis of 16 years of detailed data that went into the Global Emotions Reports. I want to share a couple of quotes from that book with you. Every day in 2008, Gallup asked Americans how their lives were going. It was an election year, so at the beginning of each year, we asked them who they intended to vote for, Barack Obama or John McCain, along with questions about their likelihood to vote and whether they approved of President George W. Bush's job performance. After the election, we removed the political questions. Each survey started by asking people about how their lives were going. When we removed the questions about politics, people rated their lives better. We initially hypothesized that Obama's victory at the polls caused some people to rate their lives better. This did happen, especially with Black Americans, but that trend held for 4 years. But it was not just Obama's victory that caused the increase. People rated their lives better because we did not remind them about politics before asking them how their lives were going. Let me state that last sentence one more time. People rated their lives better because we did not remind them about politics before asking them how their lives were going. Let's continue. Nobel laureate Sir Agnes Deaton and Gallup's chief scientist Jim Harter discovered this phenomenon. According to Deaton, quote, "People appear to dislike politics and politicians so much that prompting people to think about them has a very large downward effect on their assessment of their own lives. The effect of asking the political questions on well-being is only a little less than the effect of someone becoming unemployed. This study suggests that politics dampens people's moods." Let that sink in for just a moment. Prompting people to think about politics dampens their mood almost as much as losing their job. If someone wants to listen to politics all day long, they can turn on cable news and they can listen 24/7. They can go on social media and follow their favorite politician or political pundit. There's lots and lots of opportunities for people to get as much political news as they want. And we still live in a relatively free country. I'm all for them having that choice if that's what they want to do. But what about people that don't want to listen to politics all day long? How can you force someone to think about politics and care about what you care about, even if they don't care about it? Well, that's where CEOs come in. In 2015, the CEO of Starbucks decided that all Starbucks customers should have a meaningful conversation about race relations with their cashier while they're waiting on their morning soy latte. While some people praised Howard Schultz for this move, there was tremendous customer backlash and the campaign was quickly dropped.
Tonight, an end to a Starbucks initiative that stirred up lots of controversy. CEO Howard Schultz announcing baristas will no longer be writing "Race Together" on coffee cups, an initiative launched earlier this month to spark national conversations on race. After receiving harsh criticism online, comments like, "I don't have time to explain 400 years of oppression to you and still make my train." The backlash so strong, a company executive temporarily deleted his Twitter account, saying he felt personally attacked.
At best, you could call this campaign at Starbucks polarizing, and it certainly seems to support the idea that people that are wanting their morning coffee don't really want to engage in a political discussion with their cashier. But some people saw this campaign at Starbucks through an even more cynical lens. A Fast Company article published on June 15, 2015, quoted Nelson Lichtenstein, the director of the Center for the Study of Work, Labor, and Democracy at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Nelson said, "I see a certain institutionalized arrogance where CEOs have been given the right to mouth off on whatever they feel like." The article went on to point out how this short-lived campaign led to Schultz appearing on the cover of Time magazine in an article in which he touted his presidential aspirations. But it's not just CEOs who sometimes decide they're going to prompt people to think about politics. The following year, in 2016, the NFL lost millions of TV viewers because of player-led protests during the national anthem. Forbes cited a Rasmussen survey of 1,000 American adults, which found 32% of adults reported they were less likely to watch televised NFL games due to the protest. The 2016 protests were relatively short-lived and the NFL audience returned, but the protest returned in the fall of 2020. The first Sunday night football game of the 2020 season attracted 23% fewer viewers than the 2019 season due to the national anthem protest. So far, we have seen examples of customer/audience behavior in 2015, 2016, and 2020 that really seem to support Gallup's conclusion that politics dampens people's moods. As an introduction to our last two examples, as a professor, I always reserve the right to give pop quizzes, so here is your one-question pop quiz. What are the 3 most expensive liquids in the world? I'll give you a few seconds to answer, and I will even give you a hint. It is not black printer ink at $22 per ounce or Chanel No. 5 at $204 per ounce. Time's up. If you answered King Cobra Venom for number 3, you are correct. It sells for $1,200 per ounce. And if you answered Scorpion Venom for number 2, you are correct again. It sells for $305,000 per ounce. But the record for the most expensive liquid in the world goes to this one can of Bud Light that cost Anheuser-Busch $27 billion, which works out to about $2.25 billion per ounce. Again, prompting people to think about politics in general, and specifically if the customer perceives what you're doing as pushing a political agenda on them, it's bad for business, and data shows that it is contributing to the rise in unhappiness. And finally, a video on the topic of politics ruins everything would not be complete without acknowledging the $13.8 billion Target has lost over customer backlash to what customers perceived as Target pushing a political agenda that involved kids. A recurring theme to my videos is choose wisely. Because politics ruins everything, and data shows that prompting people to think about politics has nearly the same effect on people as losing their job, know when to say when and limit your exposure to politics, whether it's cable news, social media, or companies that want to push an agenda. I also encourage you, get outside and go for a walk, enjoy nature, connect with friends and loved ones, preferably in person. And finally, if you're still watching, you probably enjoy my content. I'm trying to grow this channel, so I ask you to please forward this video to a friend, someone that you think might enjoy my content as well. Also, if you're a regular listener or viewer of another YouTube channel or podcast, such as Russell Brand, Viva Fry and Robert Barnes, Redacted, Joe Rogan, please consider sending them an email or dropping a line in one of their videos with a link to your favorite video of mine and let them know I would be happy to come on their show to discuss matters of mutual interest. Thank you for watching.